welcome. Thank you for joining us virtually for a press briefing. My name is Kelly Chandler. I am the Public Health Division Manager for Itasca County. We're hosting press briefings in Itasca every other Thursday to address questions and needs in Itasca related to COVID-19 shared with us by our community. Today, we are asking you to see the good with me. In challenging and ever-changing circumstances, both with and focused on negatives and loss. Yet there is so much good happening around us and in our community if we are intentionally looking for it and seeking it out. Our speakers today will focus on different aspects of the good that surround us. One way we can see the good is by expressing gratitude. In November, we celebrate what we are grateful for, or the Gratitude Graffiti Project. This is a national project that celebrates the daily practice of purposeful appreciation of one's life in written or visual expression. In the past few years, businesses, schools, and community organizations have used posters or other creative means to intentionally practice what they are grateful for and encourage employees and visitors to also practice showing gratitude. Locally, posters for your work sites or organizations will be available by request, and that can be available by contacting Cassie Chernowski from Grand Itasca. And I will put her email in the chat box, and we will be sharing that in a written media piece following this event. We will also be creating a Facebook event, Gratitude Graffiti Itasca, which will be a virtual platform to share our daily gratitude practice. And this will be coming in the next few days. And as an alternative with your own social media, you can use hashtag gratitude graffiti on your own personal social post and set it as a public setting so we can share our gratitude with other members of our community. There are benefits to expressing gratitude. Physically, some of the benefits include improved blood pressure, improved sleep, decreased aches and pains, less stomach upset, less headaches, and we also have improvement in self-esteem, improvement in our relationships and our communications, improved empathy. We have less negative feelings of frustration and resentment. And most importantly, during COVID-19, practicing gratitude offers us improved resilience, which helps us to overcome stressful situations. Our speakers today will be focusing on what good is happening in our community. And they include Ben DiNucci, Itasca County Commissioner and Nashwauk business owner, Bud Stone, President of the Grand Rapids Area Chamber of Commerce, Brianna Roberts, Itasca County social worker, Weldon Braxton, Itasca Community College head football coach and residential living director, Reverend Brian Boone, Big Fork Assembly of God, Mirna Peterson, co-chair of Mobility Mania, Accessibility for All, and Tanis Henderson, school counselor, Deer River High School, and president of the Minnesota School Counselor Association. For our question and answer portion, we will be joined by Jean McDonald, President, Itasca Clinic and Hospital, and Angela Cleffman, Chief Operating Officer of Big Fork Valley. I will provide a situational update on COVID in Itasca. Over the past 2 weeks, we have identified 142 new positive cases of COVID-19 and 86 new cases in the past 7 days for a cumulative total of 794. We do know of some other cases that are not in our database yet, but will be coming. So we will very likely move into the 800s very soon here. We continue to have 17 deaths. We have 9 Itasca County residents in the hospital and 2 in the ICU related to COVID. Our Itasca County community members are in our thoughts, and we hope for a speedy and full recovery from COVID-19. We have calculated a new 14-day case rate for schools per 10,000 population, and as of October 25th, we are at 37.0, which is moving in a positive direction as we have been in the 40s and 50s in the last 2 weeks. We are grateful for all of our community members who are doing their part by staying 6 feet apart, wearing their mask, and avoiding gatherings. Halloween is this Saturday. If you are celebrating, we wanted to offer some safety suggestions for you. For trick-or-treaters, wear a cloth or disposable mask, not a mask solely for the costume, which likely will not have the same ability to prevent the spread of respiratory droplets, such as when you're talking, yelling, coughing, sneezing, etc. If you're gathering with others, keep the group small. Less than 10 is ideal. And have prepackaged treats that don't require multiple hands digging into bowls. And some other considerations, instead of going out into the public, consider a virtual costume contest, virtual pumpkin carving, movie watching with others. As always, watch for extra traffic, excited children out walking or running along the streets. Adults who may be celebrating, keep your social group small in case someone inadvertently has the virus to prevent a large spreading event. Wear your mask, stay 6 feet from others, and as always, with every celebration, please do not drink and drive. I will now introduce our speakers, and we will begin with Ben DiNucci, Itasca County Commissioner and Nashwauk business owner.
Thank you, Kelly. As civic leaders and public servants, we make decisions about what benefits the greater good, and sometimes that means doing what is right versus what is popular. We are the ones people look to for leadership during trying times like these. People are not only listening to what we say, but what we do. Today, I call on civic leaders to lead by example and wear a mask when you're in public and support the message of public health and the medical community. Make the choice to mitigate the spread of this disease. Make the choice to send kids back to school and then take action by wearing your mask in public. A message to our seniors and the elderly that their lives are not disposable. Let's let our parents and grandparents know how important their health and safety is to us. Be responsible, not selfish. Stand for what's right in our communities. Lead by example. Please put your mask on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And I will now introduce Bud Stone, President of the Grand Rapids Area Chamber of Commerce.
Thanks, Kelly. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to everybody today. From the Chamber's perspective, there are a couple things that I think are important to recognize, and one of them is that we have found that there is a willingness of people from assorted different corners of the county to do small things that collectively have a large impact on the issue. Organizations like the Chamber, United Way, Itasca Development Corporation, Visit Grand Rapids, Elder Circle, Second Harvest, and many others are all working consciously together within their own missions to lessen the negative impact on a daily basis. Businesses, large and small, have made many internal adjustments in order to provide a safe environment for their employees and their customers. And government agencies and municipalities are putting resources on the table to support businesses as they struggle to stay in business during this pandemic. Your schools, your healthcare facilities are all making long-range plans to ensure that quality education and healthcare continue to thrive in our area. People in general are showing respect and patience and empathy to their fellow citizens, and an increased awareness of the need to work together. And with that, I would like to say that we should all be very proud to say that we live in the Itasca County area. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. And we will now hear from Brianna Roberts, Child Protection Social Worker, Itasca County.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brianna. I'm a social worker, but I'm also part of the Wellness Committee. And so one of the things that we've really been talking about and focusing on throughout COVID-19 is how can we boost the morale of county employees, which then trickles to, family members and relatives, far-reaching relatives, kids, whatever. So we have talked about a lot of things. We've implemented random acts of kindness. We've focused on seeing the good. And now we're talking about making it through. And what does that look like for different people? And we all are making it through. We're navigating this period of time that not a lot of us have been through before. And it's different for everyone. We have asked for feedback on, different people throughout the county, how they're making it through, what they're doing, and tons of people have responded. We've had great feedback. We've heard about family time. We've heard about taking more time to be outside. We've heard from people that have been focusing on what they can control, focusing on the positive stuff, being intentional in their goals, and working on ways that they can make a difference. We have, like I said, had a lot of people that have submitted, but we've also had a lot of people that have said how positive hearing these things are. We have had feedback, and I'm going to give some quotes. It's a quality of life improver for county staff, which I thought was just huge, right? Like these emails that get sent out and it improves everybody's day. And if it improves 5 people's day, then that's a huge success. But it's another quote, it's heartwarming. Thank you for the smiles. It's brought tears to my eyes. So we're hearing from all of the people that we all know and work with, but we maybe don't have those conversations. What are you doing to make it through? And I would encourage all of you to think about that. How are you making it through this time? If you have the opportunity to make somebody's day, wave at strangers. My kids are always like, do you know them? No, just waving. Smile at people in the halls. Pick some flower, give some flowers to a random person. So how can you make it through this and make it through it in a positive, wonderful, glorious way? So thanks for having me, and I encourage you all to figure out what is getting you through this time.
Thank you. And I will now introduce Weldon Braxton, Itasca Community College head football coach and residential life director.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for being here, and I appreciate the invite. Really happy to represent the college on 2 fronts. As Kelly said, as the head football coach and director of residential living. From a housing standpoint, of course, college campuses, COVID, really a sensitive area, an area that has to be monitored quite closely. You start talking about outbreaks and potential negative things going on. On a positive note, we have been really, really good in our dorms. I know some other areas around the country and even around the state have had issues already with their campus housing, even though we're only a couple months into the semester. So, we've taken some procedures. We've instituted some protocols. And Kelly's been a big part of that. We met one day to get some things hammered out. Credit to our students. They're aware of the seriousness of the nature and of the matter. They're doing a really good job adhering to mask policies and distancing policies within campus housing. And so when you look at really a potential hotspot, potential train wreck, so to speak, when it comes to COVID-19, our on-campus students have done a really nice job in housing. Our RAs have done a really nice job enforcing those policies. And to this point, we're up and running, and we show no signs of slowing down. Now, obviously, that could change at any moment, but if we're focusing on positives, the fact that we have on-campus housing students from all over the country, basically in our on-campus housing, we've not had any COVID issues. We've done some contact tracing with a few students. We've had some students go through a few protocols, but in terms of overall how we're doing with COVID in such a confined space, we've done a really nice job with that. So I'm really pleased with it. On the athletic front, as most of you know, a lot of the sports have been shut down. In fact, at the collegiate level in our area, all fall sports were canceled aside from trap shooting and golf. We don't have golf here at ICC, but our conference, the Minnesota Collegiate Athletic Conference, did announce earlier this week that spring sports and winter sports are a go. So I know those sports were concerned. So your winter sports would be basketball, men's and women's, and wrestling. And in the spring, you've got baseball and softball. So those coaches in those sports were concerned if they would be given the green light fall, but it does look like we've been approved to have some developmental activities coming up this spring. So again, those are things that a week ago we didn't know would happen. And the fact that those things have been approved is very exciting. And so from a college standpoint, again, things are moving positively, and I'm very excited to share that with you all.
Thank you. And next we will hear from Reverend Brian Boone, Big Fork Assembly of God.
Thank you, Kelly, and the Itasca County Public Health team for all the hard work you've been putting in for the past several months to help us all during this pandemic that we found ourselves in. So I've been asked to briefly talk about the role of faith during this time. And whether you realize it or not, we all have faith. Some of us have faith in God, some place their faith in themselves, and others put their faith in humanity. No matter who you are or where you come from, you have faith. You believe that your political views, whether red, blue, or otherwise, will result in a better America. You believe that when you swipe your credit or debit card that your groceries will be paid for, or you believe in the cash that you bring to the store instead. We all have faith. But what happens when what you believe in your credit card and it's declined, for example? You realize that your faith in that credit card was misplaced. Either you need to have a backup card that you hope will work, or you leave without what you went to the store for in the first place. And so from a faith aspect, when I was a child, I put my faith in Jesus, and that faith is why I'm a pastor today and what I have found to be worthy of my faith. So in every situation, from the hardest times to the best times, it's what I have relied on to see me through. So just about a month ago, there was a time where I was just getting really anxious and worried and overwhelmed with our current situation. And so I'm ready for the virus to relent and to let us get back to life as normal. We've got a big election coming up, and so that's weighing heavy on my heart, and it was just weighing down, and I was feeling anxious and frustrated when I remembered that in Matthew's gospel, Jesus says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more important than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?" And so when I stopped and remembered that I've decided to put my faith in God, it allowed the worry and anxious thoughts to dissipate and allowed me to focus on the good things that are happening around us. So there's some people that say that God let them down, and because God let me down, that's why I don't believe in him. And so let me go back to the credit card example. If you swipe your credit card and it doesn't go through, the chances are that there's something on your end that you weren't paying attention to, whether you overdrafted, your card expired, or you failed to pay last month's charges. When you don't hold up your end of the agreement, you don't get the benefits that come with that agreement. And so when you put your faith in God, it's not a one-way agreement that God becomes your sugar daddy. He wants what's best for you. And so in the book of Jeremiah, he put it like this: "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." And this is where the good really comes out as we look at our faith, that God knows the purpose for which you were created. And if you will truly place your faith in him, he can carry you through all the chaos this world has to offer. So from a church standpoint, one of the things that this coronavirus has done for us is a lot of churches are online now. So if you don't feel comfortable going out and getting connected to your church physically and wearing a mask and staying distance, if that's too much for you, you can jump on to any one of the number of our churches in our communities that have began doing things online. So God bless you guys and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. And I will now introduce Mirna Peterson, Mobility Mania, Accessibility for All.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for the opportunity, and for all the rest of you that have shared. It's an honor to follow you, Pastor Brian. I maintain that same faith, and I think the positive things about the virus for me, I am in a wheelchair. I'm not as mobile as the rest of you are, but I have found really positive things to to appreciate this virus for me has opened up so many more doors, because I like to think outside the box, and communication is real key to me. My faith is real key to me, and staying positive is what has made me survive these last 25 years in a chair with 32 surgeries on top of that. But life goes on. The coronavirus has certainly put a damper in all of our styles, but just think of all the opportunities that we've had to connect with people. We have more time now to do that because we can't do the other things that have kept us busy and occupied. Our meetings, we save travel time because we can do it online with a number of virtual apps that have become familiar and creative. We've been able to dig into those closets that we haven't had time to do before because we've been too busy, or plant gardens, or flowers. I talked to the florists, and they said they've run out of their plants this year, one of the first times, because everybody has time to do that. Well, to me, those little things is what keeps me going. I have a plaque that says if I cannot do great things, I can do small things in a great way. And that has spurred me on during this time. The Rife Center, with its virtual shows into the classroom, the Science Circus one, the upcoming now, the Indigenous Dance, great opportunities for interacting with people. It doesn't mean we have to stop just because we have a virus that's slowed us down. I think we can all thank whatever spirituality we have within us. For me, I choose my God, and that has spurred me on. And it just, I think our community can be very proud of all the efforts that they've done to keep people safe and to encourage others to do it. Not for yourself. I respect the people that honk and wave at me as I tool around in my wheelchair, but they're very respectful of my vulnerabilities. And it's do it for others, not because you have to. Do it because you want to and you believe in it. We've got the best is yet to come. We're going to all get through this together, and then we'll go around the corner in no time. But thanks for the opportunity. Stay positive. I know somebody says think negative. That's just in your test, but keep your mind and spirit positive. So thanks for the opportunity, and good luck to everyone.
Thank you. And we will now introduce Tanis Henderson, school counselor of Deer River High School and president of the Minnesota School Counselor Association.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for inviting me to participate today. I really appreciate the focusing on the good. I think we've had quite a year, and even though we're seeing about inequities and the trauma that we're all experiencing with the pandemic, we have been seeing some of that trauma response kicking in with students with their engagement and absenteeism. But as we're moving ahead, it's so important to keep normalizing and acknowledging the shifts we've had to make this year, as a community and as schools, with learning models and masks and social distancing. And we really are seeing students rise to the occasion. Students are learning how to, the art of adaptation and utilizing problem-solving skills, and they're learning a variety of career skills, including, self-advocacy, digital navigation, and I'm really excited to look to the future to see the continued innovations that students have based on the skills they're learning during this time. From my vantage point, even though, there are struggles that students are facing, they still have hope and are happy to be at school and participate, whether online or hybrid. And students are working their plans. They're applying for college, they're engaging in culture, and they're playing sports, and they're making the adjustments they need, and they're showing their resilience to living in this time. I really do see the good, and I think, there is hope right now. So thank you.
Thank you. And we will now move on to the question and answer portion of our briefing. And we are asking our local and regional media to submit your questions with your name and the organization you represent in the chat box, and we will call on whoever from our panel that the question applies to. And please remember, we have representation, G. McDonald from Grand Itasca and Angela Cleffman from Big Fork Valley. And we have our first question, Kathy from KOZY. This is Halloween. Any suggestions for alternative celebrations? Yes, we do have some suggestions, and they follow the guidelines that we have been offering through the pandemic. Gatherings and masking are the main reason for spread of COVID-19 in Itasca. We know that, and it hasn't quite mattered which setting we're in, whether it's a work site or a celebration or a large or small event. So we do ask, if you are celebrating, to keep your circles small. 10 or less is ideal. Be outside if you can. The forecast is nicer than it has been, so there is opportunity to be outside. Wear your mask. And don't use your mask from your costume as a substitute for a mask that's either disposable or the cloth masks that are meant to better prevent the respiratory droplet spread. Stay 6 feet apart from others, and please don't have opportunities where there can be multiple hands in the same, for example, bowl of treats or candy. Have prepackaged treats. And then choose virtual opportunities. You can have virtual, with all the great platforms we have, virtual costume parties, virtual pumpkin carving, virtual movie watching. You can put a movie on and start it all at the same time. So those are recommendations. Wear your mask, stay 6 feet apart, and keep your social circle small or avoid gatherings altogether. Other questions? And Kathy, if numbers of positive COVID cases keep going down, is it possible for kids to return to the classroom? Is it advisable, since efforts seem to be working? I do have some information on that, but want to ask if Tanis wants to speak on that. Otherwise, I can speak on behalf of the 4 districts.
Kelly, and feel free to jump in. I think, we're just really going on the recommendations from the county and state on what is safe for our students. Safety is our #1 priority. I think everyone hopes that we can get back to in-person if the numbers are at the right level. But, it'll just really depend on the data.
Yeah, so from a county perspective, we've had the opportunity to participate in calls with the Minnesota Department of Health for all 4 school districts in Itasca County, and the Minnesota Department of actually, I believe it's education, has come out with some further guidance on schools making those decisions. The initial safe learning model came out and had a lot of focus on county level data to at least initiate your learning plans. And now that we've been into school for a couple of months, where it is happening within the school buildings and the great procedures that all of our districts have in place, they're masking, they're distancing, they're avoiding gatherings, they're doing all those really good things that prevent the spread. And so the school districts, depending on what their capacity are as far as building wide, being able to keep students and staff safe, are looking at that. If the numbers continue to go in a positive direction, can they begin to have students in person more often, and what does that look like? It will be a step-by-step decision-making process. Again, each district might be a little different depending on their spacing issues, but it is possible. It will take some work in Itasca. We've certainly been hit pretty hard in 6 weeks, the first 6 weeks of school. But yes, it is possible. It is being discussed. Safety of students and staff of utmost importance. But yes, stay tuned. We're hoping that it can happen. Other questions? All right, we've now hit 10:30, and so we will come to the end of this briefing. Again, each and every community member from Itasca, please do your part. Stay 6 feet apart, wear your mask, and avoid gatherings. Thank you all so much for what you're doing, and thank you for joining us.